quite a while. I really don't know how to start this off, so I'll just get right into the build. First, we'll check stats unbuffed. Obviously, we're running Dubious, the Shadow, for our Mundus Stone. Stage 4 Vampire. 64 points into Stamina. And you see there, we're around little over 3k weapon damage, 50% crit. Champion points, we'll get into those when we get there. So yeah, buffed up. We're sitting at almost 4k crit. Not 4k crit, 4k weapon damage, 60% crit. And decent regen. So yeah, we'll get completely buffed up here with all the good buffs. And yeah, we're sitting at well over 5k. It's around almost 6k. And that's our monster set proccing. It's what gives us that extra weapon damage. So we'll get into the sets really quick. Deadly, precise, sword and axe. You can run 2 sharpened daggers or 2 Nirnhone daggers, but I just like running the sword and the axe more. Double dot poisons, they're relatively cheap. On the back bar you can run an agility bow. I have a battlefield acrobat bow because it's what I had handy, infused with increased weapon and spell damage. Agility bow, or any crafted bow works. Damehos for our monster set gives us a little more resources, and obviously all the gear is divines. But when you deal damage, you get a huge ring around you that gives you 193 weapon and spell damage, depending on what you're spec'd for. It works really well for stamina and magicka builds, and what I've tested. Obviously we're running Briarheart, get to push our weapon damage up even higher. It has a 5-second downtime, which I don't know, it works good enough for me. And we're running 1 heavy, 1 light, 5 medium. We'll get into the passives after, jewelry. All 3 infused. I don't have the right enchantment, but it works. Now you want this because it increases your physical bleed, poison, and disease damage over time abilities. Most people run it on a DK. I've found that it really works on a Nightblade too. No, chat's working. And skills. Bars are really easy. Oh. And you get to Deadly from Cyrodiil and Bruma from the coffers. Damehos, Falkreath Hold on Veteran, and Briarheart you can pick up in traders or farm it in Rothgar. Skills: Killer's Blade, first ability in the assassination skill line. You obviously want the stamina morph, and it's your main execute ability. Second is your Barb Trap. It's the Morphin Beast Trap. It gives you minor force. Then Relentless Focus. It's the last ability in the Assassination skill line. This is your big burst. And if you're within 7 meters, you heal for quite a bit. Your Surprise Attack. It's from your Shadow skill line, first ability. It's your spammable. And decent PvP, but yeah. Reduces their physical resistance by 5% for 10 seconds. Your main front door dot. Rending Slashes. You can take the other morph for a heal when it's finished, but this one does more damage. On the initial hit, the bleed is still the same. Front bar ultimate, this is the one you want to use, is Incapacitating Strike. Deals disease damage and causes them to take 20% more from any attack you do. And then if you have 120, they are silenced as well. While slotted, you gain Reeve, which restores 100 magicka and stamina when you deal damage with a light and heavy attack on an enemy with a negative effect active on them. It's really good. Back bar. Soul Splitting Trap, but this can be a flex slot for Dark Shade or Razor Caltrops. I personally like Soul Splitting Trap more. It obviously does more damage, and normally your tank applies Major Fracture. You want Vigor here, and you get that from the Assault skill line. That's where Razor Caltrops comes from too. This can also be, this is yours, can be a sustainability, which is why I have Leeching Strikes instead of a different one. Yeah, it looks like this. You pop it, you let it run out, and it gives you a burst of stamina. Or if your group is suffering and you need more healing, you can throw on Ring of Preservation, which looks like that. Restores health every half a second, really good ability. Or if you're pushing for maximum damage, you can run Dark Shade there and Caltrops here. Or vice versa, whichever works better. No, I don't think I have. Talking to chat. And then obviously Poison Injection. It's your far away execute. And your Arrow Barrage. And Dawnbreaker. You only use this if the boss is low, because the end cap here is a lot cheaper than Dawnbreaker. And obviously, one of the most important passives. You need medicinal use, makes your potions last longer, so you can have Major Brutality longer. And obviously we're Dark Elf, I just like the Dark Elves. You can also be an Orc, Red Guard, Nord, if you want to be a little more survivable. But And obviously not dark elf, wood elf works too. Orc is probably your best bet for damage. Wood elf for sustain. Dark elf's kind of a middle ground. No, and undaunted passives, you need all of these. Armor passives. Increase your weapon crit, your recovery, sneak, and detection radius. This is why you want the 5 pieces of medium. Increases your weapon damage by 15%. Then increase movement speed and roll dodge. Obviously you want the passives from all your classes and dual wield and bow abilities. Potions, well, consumables. You can run tripods if you're struggling, or just any random potions you pick up off the ground to build ultimate. Your main pots will want to be weapon power pots. Poisons can be, well, you want to use double dot most often, but you can use drain stamina and magicka for better sustain, or you can just go drain health and stamina poisons. Foods can be a number. You can use flat stat food, tri-stat flat food, I don't have any on me, but Artam takeaway broth, it's the gold stamina and health food. And then flat blue stat, but I like dubious. Rotation's simple. Obviously make sure you're buffed up. Barrage, injection, soul trap. So yeah, barrage, light attack, injection, light attack, soul trap, siphoning. Not good at explaining it. But yeah, your back bar is probably the easiest part. Barrage, light attack, injection, light attack, soul trap, light attack, swap. If your bow's ready, bow, slashes, heavy attack, the shadow sword, beast trap. If your thing's worn out, apply it again. It's a relatively easy build. If you do the proper rotation, you can push quite a bit of damage. My remote's getting kind of old, so it's tough to do. Here, let me... Yeah, relatively easy build. It can do all content. So if people are saying, oh, you shouldn't be using Briarheart and Deadly, then no. They're, from my experience, probably the best sets I've used. And obviously you can swap out Briarheart for different sets. Azure Blight works. Pillar of Nirn. I think I have some here in the house. So yeah, I'll just show you pieces. Yeah, Battlefield Acrobats PvP. Yeah, Azure Blight, weapon crit, stamina recovery. This final effect is really good. And if multiple people have it, the stacks will go up faster. Pillar of Nirn, stamina, weapon crit, weapon damage. Then when you deal damage, a pillar shoots up and does bleed. Can run this or Briarheart. And you can also run Grundlewolf if you're struggling, if you can manage to get it. Yeah, that about covers it. And if you have trial gear, you can run Reliquins, instead of Deadly. But you want to run Perfected Reliquins for that extra stamina. Yeah, that about covers it. Depending on if this gets a positive or negative feedback, I might make more build videos just showing what I use. You don't have to use it, but they have plenty of sustain. They can pull through all the content. Easy to veteran content endgame. So, yeah. Oh, champion points. $72 to increase your damage over time. Precise strikes. Piercing. Mighty. And you can put this higher if you want it. I have it at 51. That physical weapon expert, you can have that higher too. This is where we get our extra resistances. Ironclad can be a little higher. But yeah, 40 in each of these. Quick recovery. It's not super important, but you want that extra healing. Warlord, because you're going to be breaking free if you get stunned. Then tumbling to get this passive. And I don't stress this enough. If you don't have this passive in a dungeon, don't open the chest. Let someone who has Treasure Hunter open it. Because if someone that doesn't have the Treasure Hunter passive opens it, they won't get better quality loot. Let someone who has this pop the chest for the better loot. Nothing into Apprentice. It's for the Magicka side. Yeah, that about covers it. Simple build. Relatively easy to get aside from Damehaus, but you can run Valken Scoria till you get Damehaus. Or even Celine's, which is much easier. So, yeah, that should cover everything. I might put out a tank build, tank Nightblade. But that'll depend on how good this does, if there's any constructive criticism on sets. Because, you know. Anyway, that was this build. Might put out another one in the future. And yeah. Good times.